Welcome to Soft Bites Podcast. Your life, your dentistry. We talk about ways to have more fun and meaning in one of the coolest and most rewarding professions in medicine. Conversations on how to bring awareness, create a healthy workplace, and provide emotional insights to make dentistry a fulfilling activity while making space for one's wonder, creativity, and freedom. Here are your hosts, Manuela and George Andre.
But usually these people, and I see myself, these are the technically more successful people. So basically your need for perfectionism, exactly, but what is perfectionism? But what is perfection? Perfection is the easiest disguise for insecurity.
Interesting.
Yes, that's the thing though. So it's basically just what Christina was saying in the beginning. They have this very busy professional life as dentists, clinic owners or not, but they feel like they say yes to everything. They say yes to everything from their patients. They say yes to everything from their staff, or even if they are not clinic owners, they say yes to everything that the clinic owner says. And then they arrive home and they don't have any patience for their loved owner says. And then they arrive home and they don't have any patience for their loved ones. And it's as simple as even now. I mean, during the last 2 weeks of July and the first 2 weeks of August, I got all these messages from colleagues saying, what can I do? I'm on vacation and I cannot disconnect. Or how can I say to the practice where I work and that I don't want to be receiving all these WhatsApp messages. So there's no self-awareness in dentistry. This is the truth. There's no self-awareness in dentistry. I had this message to a young dentist that she explained everything to me in the message so clearly. And I just said, you just have to say what you told me, what you just wrote me. You just have to say that in the practice. You have to be authentic. That's the thing that you have to do. And she was like, oh, thank you so much. I just had this huge insight that I say yes to everything with fear, that I have less patience or that to please everyone. This is very hard. And this is one of the reasons why this is hard. It's because you work based on empathy. You feel as a provider, a healthcare provider, that you have to really be empathetic to your patient, that you really have to, and not only, and then it's not only to your patient, it's also to your staff, and because you don't want drama, and not only, and then it's not only to your patient, it's also to your staff, and because you don't want drama, you have to say yes. And then dentistry has the money, you have to say yes. And then dentistry has the money part involved, which is very important also, and that we cannot forget about. So it's a very expensive specialty for us as professionals, and also it's a stress factor for patients also. But if you don't learn all of this self-awareness, emotional awareness, if you don't learn how to listen to yourself, how to communicate with assertiveness, that assertiveness is not it doesn't equal being aggressive. This will make your life so much easier, and that's why courses like the mindfulness-based stress reduction course, or our course with Andrea, and the course with Andrea, of course, is special because then it gives you the tools to put everything in practice in the protocols and the systems. This will make your life so much easier, and that's why you have all these insights and your practice. It's not only your practice, it's your life, because as dentists, dentistry is a big part of your life. We were talking about that with Jazz on the last podcast. Is like, dentistry is a big part of your life. We were talking about that with Jazz on the last podcast. Is like, dentists who think that they close the door of the practice and they disconnect and everything, and then now I go home and this does not exist. And they disconnect and everything, and then now I go home and this does not exist. You have to make your dentistry life as easy as possible for you, as pleasant as possible for you, because it's part of your life. You will carry it with you. You will carry it with you.
Yeah.
If you carry only problems in your mind, that's what you will have. You will have a problematic life. It's as simple as this.
It's amazing because no matter how many times I hear this from Manuela, it still resonates so much with what I feel from most dentists, because this is really a central topic. And Manuela is talking about for a reason, because I think that most of the people that you work with, like coaching and stuff like that, they have this issue, right, Manuela? That this is one of the central issues in dentistry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that leads me to the other thing that it's interesting to talk about, because we know that you have all this life besides dentistry. So you are a DJ, music, you do volunteer work, you do all of the personal development part. You read a lot about that. You take good care of yourself. Tell us a little bit more about Christina as an off-duty dentist, and how all of that contributes to make you a better dentist, because it's all connected, right? And I think that you understood that, right? That you needed to. It's all connected, right?
Exactly.
And I think that you understood that, right? That you needed to do things that you like, that you needed that motivation. You need to take good care of yourself, then to have the energy to be a good dentist.
I have been analyzing and thinking a lot, and what I think, when you enter dentistry, you're like the hamster in the wheel. And one thing, and you never stop. And I think that's why that's why we have the problem that we are not self-aware, and the problems just because we don't have time to stop from the day we enter dentistry.
And by the way, Christina, what is your normal schedule? Can you just share with us what's your usual schedule? Because I have the feeling that you have this huge working capacity. What's your normal schedule?
I would say now I will come to what I was writing, because from the day I were at the course, your course, something happened. You can see that my life was like a puzzle, and there were missing parts that I couldn't see what was missing. I couldn't see. And like I said, I'm analyzing. I'm really self-critical as well. Everything I've always been, something happens, the first thing I happen is what I have done wrong. Even too much, thinking that I have done something wrong. So I have been working with that as well. But so I always try, okay, what have happened, and how can I change it to become better? But so many things that you were saying, and you were inspiring with books. I just felt like every minute of my days were just like, or I was reading, or I was going through your notes. I was like we said, because you can go to every course, so you can read, but if you're not implement it, it's like throwing the money. It's like you can do better things. You can go and eat for those money. Yeah. To really have a change in your life, you have to change. And it's not easy. It's a big work. Every day I'm writing some protocol. I'm thinking of how to make the organization better. Like you said, Manuela, to make a more flow, make it easier. My working days, I was working 8 hours with patients, then sitting with administration. I mean, my husband is
the clean checks. Then the clean checks of Invisalign, right?
Yeah. But also, Andre, you said something very important in a podcast, and I felt very, I saw myself, I don't mind sitting with my work when I'm home. I don't mind going through, for example, clean checks. The opposite. When I see a new person, it's like, you know, it's like, for me, it's like Christmas Eve. I like that. What we have to be aware of is what is it that we like and what is it that we dislike. And if we dislike something as a leader, as a boss, clinic owner, that has to be delegated. I have realized that now. You know, I have been doing so many things each day that, so not even 24 hours would be enough. I'm sometimes surprised that I didn't go, you know, to because I have been pushing myself all the time, too much, and taking care of all the patients.
But you know, also because physically, by what I look at you, of course you're a beautiful woman, but physically you look like a very capable person, because you are physically, which is something that will also, it's not on the script, but we can talk about that. I mean, you take good care of yourself physically, isn't it? To be able to handle all this, because it's not very, very, very common to be able to have this working capacity and still DJ, as we'll talk about, and everything, without being physically very good, right? But you have this very good working capacity, right?
I go to personal training 3 times a day. No, a week.
That's nice. That's very good. I want to do that as well.
I have learned that training is so important. Exercise is so important.
It's critical.
So I do it in the morning. Really. I am a morning person. 8 to 9, I train, and once a month I go to physiotherapist to to massage out the nuts in the back. So there are things that I have coming to conclusion. And by your help in the course, I feel like I'm seeing things much clearer now. And actually, when you said, Manuela, that we think that the clinic stops when we close the door, my goal now will be that nobody writes a WhatsApp to anybody if it's not really, really important. When somebody has vacation, we don't call, I think it's like a relationship. I always make comparison to a relationship. It's like, when is it that you feel passion? Yeah. When is it that you feel passion in a relationship? Many times it's when you separate, when somebody goes on a holiday, when you are a few hours in separated and then you go back. The same thing has to happen with work. I didn't realize that. I have done so many mistakes. Earlier, I was sending WhatsApp to my, because I can get very, I have that in my personality that I know I don't control, and I answer because the patients any hour. Personal. One day I was answering Friday, 11 o'clock for myself. I thought this patient thinks that I don't have a life. And I didn't separate my private life with dentistry. And I don't know why that happens. I don't know. And that is a problem, because that will also drain you. It will drain your staff. I want them to be happy when they come. So my goal after your course is to have the best working place.
You want
to
control
staff,
everything.
For the patients, the same feeling we are leaving on social media will be the same feeling they get when they enter. Because if it's something I don't like, is when somebody is very happy like that, and you see them in reality and they're serious. I don't like fake things. Or you are happy or you're not. You have bad days, yes, but show the same face on social media as you are in real life.
And I remember that one of the things that you shared during the course is that you had some issues with delegation, right? So how are those issues now? Are they improved? I mean, I remember that it was maybe you wanted to delegate in the odontics, or I don't know exactly. Maybe
that I did. I started.
How is that going?
Endodontics, I delegated.
By the way, your endodontist they will not listen to this, so you can talk whatever you want.
I delegated that 2019, and it was like, why didn't I do this before? You know, it's I have been like a horse with not seeing how to do this. So because
but by the way, Christina, when you came to the course, you were already doing some changes. You were in the process of changing some stuff, right? You did like some external consultancy, right? That someone went there and did some help with you. Yeah. So
with
you were you were all on the process of understand that something had to change. Yeah. So what exactly led you to realize that something had to change? So you did the course last year with us, and it was maybe maybe it was the pandemic.
Yeah. I felt like something has to change, or maybe I will change my life, because I don't have any life. I come home and it's Friday night and I just want to rest so I can be back on Monday. Yes, you don't
have energy. Yeah, I understand.
So it's that. And I was like, why do I feel that? So.
And being a mother as well, there's a lot of. Yes.
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of guilt also when I think I have taken the clinic so, you know, first place, and I have a patient husband, and he's a wonderful father. But, you know, you cannot turn back the time, and it's important to think and be cautious. I read something a few days ago that is really good. As a leader, it said, you have to be so selfish and have so much self-love so you have enough
to give
the people you have to give. That was straight on the point, and that is so important, to embrace yourself and think about what you want.
Also, and also, I was thinking. I talk to myself whenever I have these situations that demand me to have like difficulties, because I've been having them for the last year, and I think I got better at it. I think I don't let it affect me that much, but I understand what you say. I mean, it's like willpower. Okay, willpower is a finite. Is a finite energy.
It has a lot to do with boundaries.
Which means that you had to renew it. How do you renew that? With self-awareness, with meditation, with physical exercise, with rest. So you need to renew that.
Yeah.
If you don't renew that, your willpower, what do I mean by willpower? Doing the things that you know that you have to do. I'll give you an example. Know that you need to be unemotional when you are talking to someone. Unemotional means like being objective, not looking at things as one side told you or the other side told you. Because if two people are complaining, you have to go there. That's the main rule of a leader. Go there and be completely neutral. So what happened? How can we improve? No one is right. But to have that energy and that capacity, it demands a lot of self-awareness. And so maybe I want to take the side of the nurse. Maybe I want to take the side of the doctor. And that willpower can only be filled if you are rest, if you are physically okay, if your relations are you have to stop and think about what you are doing. So I think that you need to renew that energy. This is why for me it's so important, things like meditation and physical exercise. For me, if I didn't do it, even today, I told you I did like 2 hours boxing training because it's a holiday, because I have to do that. If I don't do that, I know that I'm not capable of being up to the challenges that I have every day. So I think I also think it has to do a lot with that.
Yeah, I for the music, for example, I've always been. I remember I was 5-6 years old, and when somebody came to our house, I was like, "Can I dance for you?" And I was like the little entertainer. So that has always been inside of me. And my husband, we had known each other since we were 6, so he knows me. Another man would say, "What is it? Do you have like a 40-year-old crisis or something?" But he knows me because I have always been like that. It's just that I have not shown that side. When you said, Andre, that dentists seem so or
uninteresting,
not interesting. I'm sure that they are not.
Look,
but they don't show that side because we are not allowed to show that. And that was my fear. Yeah, when I started to show that side, I did it because I was over 40, and you could also already see that I had experience in dentistry. I didn't have to show nothing, but I would not maybe do it if I was younger, because then I would not.
They put themselves in a box.
Probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was what I was feeling. So I have always needed the music. I've always been, music has been a part, but I have not shown it. Just the people that knew me, that I was going crazy and we were dancing. I've not been out much in my life, but when I have been, I've been crazy dancing. So it started, but that I was, during a few years, I did not go out. I did not listen to music. I was just a dentist, not only 8 hours a day, but all the time at home. And I started to lose that side, and I started to not recognize myself. But then after I realized that, I started to go out. I started to listen to music, and I started to think, I would do that. I would do that. I would put the drop there. I would do. And so I started to experiment and listen to that side. And when I'm DJing, it's such adrenaline. The time just stops, and I'm in heaven. I feel like I can die now. And that similar moment is when you do a big job for a patient, and you have completed it, and the patient, you can just see that in their eyes that they will never be like they were before.
The same person.
They will have, So that adrenaline comes there. The volunteer work.
How much fulfillment can you have? Because I know exactly what you mean, because a few years back I started to do some video edition with some beats and stuff like that. So basically I want to present case in a way that I place music that I like, not that much as the audience likes, but whenever I do some video or an edition about the procedure, I want to use the music that I like, even that I know that 95% of the dentists, they have no clue about it, what's going on. They just want to listen to popular music or whatever. But what I feel when I do that, in terms of fulfillment, and we are going to talk about creativity, this is what I'm going to ask you. Like you were saying, like time stops for me. I could be doing video editions with beats every day, all day, without getting tired.
Yeah.
I think more than dentistry now. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you compare DJing to dentistry? Is it really the same feeling? I mean, when you finish a job for someone, is it really, because for me, it isn't. Because one thing is that what happens is that, you know when it is the same feeling? When I do the job for myself, and this is maybe quite selfish, because I think that what we are talking about is talking about art. So the only thing, it's like you are entitled to your work, but you are not entitled to the fruits of it, which means in art, it's all about your experience as an artist. What happens when you create it? What happens of what the audience understands about the process? That's a completely different thing. So for me, with the patient, it's the same thing. I do like a wonderful job of full mouth rehab. It's amazing. I love that. And it's wonderful. Why? Because I know how hard it took for me. And it's amazing. There's details that only I understand that are there. But the patient, well, if it works, if it looks good. So it's not that much. You were saying, well, the patient is not going to be the same. And I have to tell you, I'm much more selfish about that. Sometimes most of the works that you do and I do, they don't value the amount of detail, because I know your work. I know the quality of your work. They don't know the amount of detail that's going to their mouth. So I have much more fun and fulfillment doing the process of doing something which is kind of arty in their mouth than actually their own benefit from that. You understand? Because dentistry is working not much on the health level, it's working much more on the social level. And let's be honest, very few patients value our work. Very few of them value. Of course, that you try to attract them, but most of them, they don't value that. So the question is for you is it exactly the same? Number one. Number two, what happens to that creativity that you are? Because I can completely understand that. If that is not placed out there, where does it go and what causes when that creativity does not come out? When you are working just for the feedback and not for yourself? So what happened when you stop DJing and stop music? Because you are a creative person, right?
Yeah. Then I create something else. I have to create.
Yeah. Okay, but tell me. That's what I want to go. The main question is, how can you be creative in dentistry? Does the protocols, does creating a system, because that's the way that I see myself. I see that I always, and I rarely talk about this because I think that most people don't get this. I wrote an article recently. For me, that's art. I did my systems and protocols. For me, that's art. So I want that my practice would be like an expression of my own creativity. Do you feel that? Do you feel that dentistry can be an expression of your own creativity? Not only about TikTok videos and stuff like that.
In some way, but I find it limiting. Limiting?
Exactly.
Do you say? Yeah, yes. I find that this is dentistry and I want to be here.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to tell you. Yes, that's the point.
Yeah.
Because I completely feel that from you.
You feel that?
I have this. Of course, I have this. It's so clear that this woman is larger than dentistry in every way. My advice. My advice. It's not
I don't know if I should say thank you, but
no, it's not. It's not about being. It's not about being better than anyone. It's not about being better than anyone. It's not about that. It's about you have this huge creative force. Because I'm the same as well, and this causes a lot of issues. Why? Because whenever you do something which is not creative, which is like A, B, C, D, E, which is what dentistry is all about, isn't it? And you are always waiting for the feedback of the concept of art. The art ends, in my opinion, when you finish it, because I'm much more interested in the process of the artist. Of course, there's also the interpretation of it, but that's none of your business. But the process of creativity is something that you were saying in dentistry is very limiting, or apparently limiting. And the way that I've dealt with that, my personal way, is to write articles with very unique connections between concepts. One thing, eventually doing videos, or eventually trying to create a place that everybody says that you have to make money to buy cars and this and that. I want to have the life. I want to have a practice that I'm continuously working towards being a piece of art. Do you think that makes sense to you? Is that creativity? Can that creativity be applied to those concepts, or do you think that's too much?
Yeah, I'm on a road discovering, like I said, after your course, when I start to put the pieces, I'm still like, what do I want? What is what would my best life be with what I have? And now when I had vacation.
Can I reframe that? What's the best expression of yourself? What's the best way that you can express yourself in life?
Yeah, I feel like I agree with you, and it feels like dentistry is holding me back a little bit.
We can see that.
At the same time, that is my stability. I was thinking I will represent this like a tree. I feel like dentistry in the clinic is the trunk of the tree. It gives me the stability. I've been doing this for 22 years. The DJ, the music, and the art is the branches. I want to reach somewhere higher. I want something more. And the volunteer work is the are the roots. It's like they make me grounded, make me grateful what I have, giving back. The weeks I was in Africa was one of the happiest. It was a very special feeling, giving something to somebody that doesn't. So, and that during those that they don't expect it, and they don't know you, and they don't have any other options, and you're there helping them. It's something very magical. I'm very much generally with my phone, but during those 2 weeks, I didn't want even to open, because superficial photos were just like, oh, like, you don't know what life is. Here are people and they don't have anything. You came to the core of life, and giving love and spread love and helping. So I need the grounding, because it's easy to get, it's so superficial out there. People judge you easily. I need different parts. But
by saying that, I'm not saying that. For example, one of the things that I think that is one of the most bad advice is to tell to a young man or a young woman to follow your passion and completely follow your passion. Because at the end of the day, what happens, yes, you may want to be a dentist since you are a little kid. You may want to be a DJ since you are a very little kid. And yes, you should work towards that. And I think it's worth it. But at the end of the day, what really makes you love what you do is becoming good at it and becoming confident at it. So I'm not saying that doing dentistry and creativity and having those different branches and have the trunk of the tree, I'm not saying that is bad. Actually, I think that is what makes the key of that is to have a balance, to have different things that you can go through and navigate through and find that balance. Because I don't think that I should be doing like only DJing or only writing articles or only that, because we always need that balance. But and my advice to you, which if you want to take this, which is, I'm always happy when I'm creating something unique, which is an expression of myself. I always see it like, okay, it's not coming from me, it's coming from God. I'm just being used as an instrument, which makes it much more interesting and fun. So I'm not even in the control of the process. But I think that we can make people that, like, we are creatives because we want to create things different and unique, and I think that we should use our own, even the way that you organize a meeting with someone, that can be creative. That can be something that there's no need to follow what is established exactly. That can be an expression of yourself. Even the protocols that you are writing, that can be an expression of yourself. So the main, So I was thinking about that, and I didn't write it down when I was talking to you, because I was like, I have to talk about creativity with Christina. I have to talk because I can really feel that she's very creative. And it is true, dentistry really holds you back. And I can feel that. I came from vacation. I had three days in a row of work in the practice. And it completely gets you off balance, right? Because you have to deal with very concise things. And you cannot be creative. And for people that are creative, if you pass a day that you are not creating something or doing an expression of yourself, it really drains your energy. And for you to regain it again, you have to work out, you have to go on vacation, you have to rest to be creative again. But I think that it's very helpful.
But it's very interesting.
I do that a lot in articles, which is very strange, because sometimes my language in articles, the referees don't like it, because I like to explore different scenarios and do different connections and stuff like that. But for me, that's creativity. And one of the things let me show you something, a book, and this is a very interesting book from Dan Sullivan, which is the founder of Strategic Coaches, one of the oldest guys doing coaching. And he has this book, Who, Not How. What is the main idea of this book? Which is, if you want to move forward, it's not about how you do this thing better. It's about who do you who do you hire to your team, or who do you outsource to help you overcome that. So it's all about delegation. So really, it's not about how, up to a point, it's not about how. You will not be more successful by doing better preps or being more competent in Invisalign. You just have to get more help from other people if there's something that you don't want to do. And I think this is really a key concept that you were talking about. Yeah. So sorry, Manuela.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I just wanted to say something before we change subjects. That has a lot to do with, I was really fascinating hearing you talking about creativity and about how dentistry limits you, because it has to do with it all. In my opinion, it has all to do with what you already said, that you think that most dentists are not that interesting. And why? Because they put themselves in this box, because they graduate and now they are dentists. It's what Christina said. She graduated and then she completely stopped music. She completely stopped dancing. She was Christina the dentist. And she was afraid as a young dentist that people would not see her as a dentist, as an authority in dentistry, if she had her music and DJing and etc. I also want to say that I think that younger generations are different. They are doing their thing and being dentists, which is really cool. But for us, it was still like that. And then at a certain moment, okay, we have already, so we can bring our creativity, we can bring other things. Some of us does, and some of us cannot do it. Some of the colleagues still, then they don't know how to. They are in this box and they don't know how to. I'm going to give you an example. I was in this festival in Portugal, which is considered alternative. André knows it. I was in Boom, and I love it. And I encountered a dentist friend there, and it was the first time there. And she was like, I'm less of a dentist now. Why are you saying this? Why are you? Because when you start doing these things, then we start considering ourselves less of a dentist. We say, you're not less of a dentist. Did you quit dentistry? Said, no, but I'm ourselves less of a dentist. We say, you're not less of a dentist. Did you quit dentistry? Said, no, but I'm doing things that I like now. That's it. Yeah. But that does not make you less dentist. That makes you a better dentist. Because you are doing dentistry and you are doing the things that you love also. That's what dentists have to understand. So I think that's very important. It has all you love also. Exactly. That's what dentists have to understand.
Yeah, and one of the things that...
So I think that's very important. It has all... It's all related to what you guys were saying.
And one of the things that we talked a lot about, which is I think that at the end of the day, dentistry, it is a medical profession. So yes, you have to be... So being creative does not mean that you are not going to a very good diagnosis,
your clinic, they're an expression of your art. And you have fun, what you were saying, Andrea, right?
It means that
articles,
actually you will be having, using your creativity to make sure that you can do responsible dentistry in one way, and not doing like only cosmetic dentistry or not looking at the patient as a whole, but also using dentistry as an expression of your own heart. I think that's exactly.
Yeah, you are not less of a dentist because of it. Yeah?
Just give us some examples of how creative you are in dentistry.
Yeah, you are not less of a dentist because
I'm sure you have done. I'm sure that your practice is an expression of who you are. I'm sure.
You dance. What do you do when you arrive to the clinic? You dance. Oh, yeah, that's it.
I started already many years ago, little by little, without knowing it. Now I'm more aware of things, but it started when you come into the reception, it doesn't look like a normal dentistry. It's a little bit more
that was intentional.
Yeah. I didn't want them to feel that they come into a dental clinic. So that started years ago before. So it has always been in me. Now I'm with the protocol that I part, and it's a big part. It's a boring part, but important.
But the challenge is, okay, how can the practice be an expression of, I'm not saying who you are, but how can the practice be an expression of what you believe while you are not there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
How can the practice be an expression of what you believe while you are not there?
Yeah. If we only look physically at things, I started to incorporate the wings that I use when I at the logo at DJ. I use them at the clinic, also at social media. Use them a lot when it's like helping people become the best version of themselves. And then I'm not only thinking about the teeth, but the teeth.
That's very interesting. Yes.
Yeah. So the wings are there, and we will put some wings in the clinic at a wall, like. So we are things like that. So that is physically, but then also what they say when they come to the clinic that.
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah, and so I have been really strict with the staff there that it's so important to show the same feeling. I cannot be happy at social media and not be happy and caring. So even if somebody that I don't know write to me on Instagram and say, "Oh, thank you so much for your vibe or for your dance or music," I'm like answering. I hope you have a nice day. That line has to continue. If I'm a nice person, I will answer you. I will show you respect and that I care, even if I don't know you. So they say that when they come to the clinic, we are happy, we make jokes, that good vibes. So they don't feel a little bit also they come with fear. They come with all these feelings. So it's also like to protect our, like we come with happiness.
Let me ask you something. That vibe, it does not come from nowhere. It comes from you being contagious to your staff, right? That's what happens. You become contagious to your staff, and you dance, and they absorb that energy, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's highly dependent on you, on your presence.
I thought so too. But what I have noticed, but I don't really know why. But what I have noticed is the days I'm not there, because now I'm not at the clinic every day. So when I'm not there, then my dental assistant, she gets into my position a little bit. Yeah, they say, "Oh my God, she's worse than you, Christina." So
that's very interesting.
So and now I will have 2 new staff members. So that's why it's so important. I will introduce them with a PowerPoint and put the goal and visions that are important, the team building.
When you say put, what you mean exactly?
Put the PowerPoint.
Okay, so this means a meeting, right?
A meeting. I will put the PowerPoint on the telly, and we will have like evening off where I will go through the goals. I will be clear. I will be, for the first time, very transparent of what I want and what I, what's the word? What I also demand from them. So they know. So there will not be any misunderstandings. It will be clear.
Okay.
And that is your responsibility. But if you have too much that day, and that person have less, you help that person to take the burden. We are together as a team.
That's one of the things that you took from the course, right?
Yes.
So when you say put, you say, I'm going to have a meeting. It's like an onboarding process, right? But also there's something written down. Well, I hopefully think there's something written down.
Yes. That is what I'm. Yeah. Everything's written down, everything. And that has been my weak point before. I didn't write. I just went with the flow. But I have realized also, when we speak about the challenges, why also, not only that we enter a hamster wheel that is going around, what is so complex with dentistry is that it's this massive multitasking all the time. The force pushes you to chaos, and if you don't have the protocols, you will have chaos, because a clinic
you wrote all of these goals, all the values of the practice.
Exactly. the mail, the callings, and now with social media, it's even worse. We have people on WhatsApp, mail, Instagram, all that.
Can you see this? Is it focused?
It is, but
thinking and writing.
It's the difference between thinking and writing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that is, Andre, my process right now. It takes a lot of effort, but every day I'm doing like something because I realize that then with having that, I can take a step back. I can be at home because they know what is the goal. So I'm on that road now to have that. So
it's very good, and we are very glad that's something that you got from the course, and most especially that you implemented that from the course. And any other things that you like to like, any practical things that have impacted your practice or your life, or changes that you did in the core in your clinic.
After the course.
Can you just give us a few examples of things that changed? In a practical way?
I have your program as well. Make Me Clear.
No, I was not thinking about that. I'm a lousy sailor. I'm a lousy sailor. I'm a lousy sailor. Yes, I do have. But I was never thinking about that yet, because I really have this aversion, because that was something that I created for myself, and it's very clear that not many dentists understand the value of that, because it's too expensive, this is a waste of time. It depends on the dentistry that you want to do. If you want to do single tooth dentistry, that's one thing.
Of course.
But that's not your focus. You do a lot of interdisciplinary dentistry with Invisalign and full mouth rehabs and veneers.
Exactly.
So prices are not cheap, right? You're not charging cheap. So you have to
be able to explain everything in a very simple and visible way, and
in a very nice way also.
So you really helped me a lot.
Thank you so much. It would be great to have you here in Portugal, or to have a meetup in one of the future courses. It would be really great.
Yes,
you can even give us a hand eventually. That would be something really nice.
I would love to.
But tell us some other practical stuff that changed in your practice. Some, like you said, protocols, meetings. Do you do regular meetings? Because if you don't, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, I will put that.
I'm going to go to Spain and I will squeeze your neck if you don't do that.
I will put that. We have, but a mistake I have done many times. It suddenly, because we have a lot of patients.
Let me guess. Don't tell me. You book a morning for a meeting, but then you book a patient.
Yeah. How did you know?
You are being a very, very bad girl.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah, I know. That is one of the things that I realized as well.
Time.
No,
it takes time.
We cannot do like that.
Because I've done that. I've done that mistake many times. I still do.
It takes time.
Yeah. And we have patients that are here many times. So I'm just here 4 days. So you get into situations, even if you want to have everything correct. But I read also a book that is very interesting, Indistractable, and speaking about time boxing, how to. And I will start with a tip at the clinic, because the receptionist, we are a small clinic, so I can't put her in a separate room. So she will be there answering the phone, but at the same time will do administration. And when you have the phone, then you will be interrupted all the time. So I will start the thing that she will have like a red flag on her back when it's something important that she has to complete. So at least the staff knows that during that time we will not disrupt her. So I will test that thing. That is something.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So
let me give you. Yeah. Just tell. Sorry.
No. So.
One of the things that I would like to advise you, I do, and you can continue, which is I use Blinkist. Blinkist is an app that has 15-minute resumes in bullets of books. And I think this may sound a little bit silly, but I do read a lot. But one of the rules that I've done in my life, I read a lot of literary books. I mean, fictional books at night. But most of the professional stuff, of course, in dentistry, that's one thing. But most of like personal development stuff like that. One of the things that stopped making me feel guilty of reading books, like sometimes I would start a book and I wouldn't finish it. It was the idea of Naval Ravikant that says that once you get the main ideas of a book, you can drop it, especially if it's like a self-help or self-development. And one thing that I use a lot, and you can find sometimes that on YouTube, but Blinkist is an app, and there's like a double subscription. And Blinkist, you have all the main books and subdividing bullets. So the main ideas are there. Wow. And it's called Blinkist. And actually, one of the things that Jazz in the last podcast, Manuel, I talked about that book, Quiet. I have to tell you it's a very nice book.
Quiet.
It's very, very, it talks about introverts and extroverts and how it's very good.
Yeah,
it is really good.
That is me. Introvert, extrovert.
Exactly. But most of the book is about dividing. Introverts are like this, extroverts are like this. But then you realize it's actually how can an introvert be more extrovert, and how can an extrovert be more introvert, and how they can work together. And one of the things that we can even have your opinion on this was about, and this is something that I really think a lot, because I struggle a lot of showing off on social media. I mean, I have to do it, and I like to do it. It's good for my ego. Of course, we all do it. But this constant need to be selling all the time. Because in the back of my head, I said, what are people going to think about of me when they keep seeing their feed these things about these courses, about this, about that, about whatever, and how good I am or whatever. And I feel like an imposter sometimes, because on the one way, I know that I have to do that. And one of the things that I have to do that, for example, for my practice, I have that automatized, right? And I want to do it balanced. I mean, I don't want to be placing everyday stuff. But I know also that if you don't do this every day, you're not going to get the reach that you want. So one of the things that I struggle is I know that I have to do this in one hand, but on the other hand, and sometimes this happens a lot with because, for example, Manuela, she has her career and she has specific education on mindfulness.
And I work a lot online.
Yes. And you work a lot online and you have specific, you are a professional that is qualified and certified in what you are teaching. And I am in dentistry, but whenever I talk about these things, about psychology and stuff like that, who am I to be talking about this? Who am I to be placing things on social media talking about psychology? So for me, it's something that is difficult. And one of the things that the book talks is that
you have the experience. It's the psychology.
Yes, I have
on your experience.
And what I always try to do is I try to humble myself down and talk about the things that went wrong. That's my trick. That's the trick that I use. But the book talked about something which is before industrial revolution, before cities became cities like in 80s and 90s. Your reputation was you didn't need to talk about how good you are. There was no marketing, because what was marketing? Marketing was what the village said of you, which was often true, because there's no way to hide that. You are as you behave, because everybody knows you and they know that you are a fair guy. They know that you're a good guy. Why? Because that's the truth. There's a truth there. So once you move to big cities, no one knows you. There's not there's not this community that can talk about you in a very truthful way. So you have to place yourself out there, and then marketing started. And that's a big problem for introverts like me, because I always feel that I'm being an imposter here, not in dentistry. In dentistry, I can do whatever. But for example, in these areas, I always feel like, who am I to be talking about this? So, and of course, you are a very active person on social media for your practice. What's your take on that? Do you sometimes feel that it is too much? And do you feel that sometimes we have to change the way that we use social media? you were talking that when you were doing volunteer work, you had no willing whatsoever of posting or reading or seeing futile. So how do you see the things that you do now, and how do you think that social media will head towards? Because you express your personality through social media by DJing and in your practice. How do you see that?
I have a love-hate relationship with it. I think we would be much happier. I think we would be much happier if we wouldn't have the mobiles. Much happier. That is also something that I struggling with now.
But that's how you use. I mean, I can understand what you're saying. We will be much happier we didn't have our phones, because then we would be more present, because it's attention drawing. But that's how you use your phone. What about what you post online? I think that's
what I post online
was going, because I also have this very love-hate relationship with social media.
I post online in one way. That's why in one way I'm happy to have different accounts, because I have these really crazy Christina, and I'm not even showing all the craziness. I'm not even showing the whole dance.
But you can show your patients. Your patients won't see it. You should show.
I could see on the face of the Greek. He said in Greek, because I was filming, and he said, "Oh God, she's crazy," because it is a Greek dance. You know, when you dance like you're drunk, it's a lot of sensation. It's always about love and sorrow. So, of course, it's a little bit like you said. I like to surprise people. I like people to go, oof, you know. I don't know why I have that. When everything's so correct, I just feel like I would, like to run naked here just to make people,
You were talking, Christina, and I had this flash in my mind. I remember the first time I saw you on social media, on Instagram. I started following you during the pandemic, because you were doing these DJ sets during the pandemic. And I started following you because of that. So she was such a cool, different account of a dentist. She's a dentist and she's doing this DJ set. So and I started commenting, saying, cool.
Yeah.
So that was it. Yeah. But that's a good thing. Huh?
That is what I noticed when I started to show that side. Even a dental account, I don't remember, but they said, could we put part of your DJing? Because we are doing a video about dentists who have other hobbies.
I remember that.
Do you remember? Yeah.
I remember that, yes.
So and people were like, the author of Think Like a Rocket Scientist, even he said, I start to follow you now because you were DJing, you're a dentist DJing, and that DJ, I had my dog as well. So, and then I realized, people will like me who are a little bit like that. There will be people who are so afraid of showing and coming out from the box, and they will sit there and criticize. But I don't need to please everybody like I thought before. So now I'm like letting out almost, but not everything. But I like to make people go.
Let me ask you a question. Of course, and you touched that thing about the masculine and feminine. Of course, you have a very masculine and feminine energy, but mainly feminine. And you are a beautiful, attractive woman. And one of the things that I see a lot, especially in beautiful women and attractive women in dentistry, is that they hold back their feminine side because they have to sometimes. Because they have to hold, and we talked about this, yes, within the practice, especially if you are selling something or if you are trying to be influential, you have to be very masculine, and we talked about. But there's also this feminine side, this creative side, this very feminine side, which is creativity is a very feminine side. And what would be your advice for any 20 or 30-year-old women? How would they handle their feminine energy. And women, they know exactly what I'm talking about. They know exactly what I talk about when I talk about feminine energy. What would be your advice?
They have to give me advice, because I think, like you said, their generation is more open-minded. They should give me advice, because I'm the one who has been like this, and I'm trying to open up. So I think
and I think it's not only in dentistry. It's
Yes.
women hold that feminine because they are afraid
Yes.
of not looking professional, or they are afraid of harassment also, or looking flirty. So because we still live on this society of men, so it's not. I have a very feminist side in me. Don't want to get into that, but I think I agree. I totally agree with Christina. Women nowadays, and I mean, it's women, it's men, there's this gender fluid thing going on, which I think it's very interesting. But in our generation, women still, and it's not only in dentistry, it's in companies, that we are afraid if we show that part, or if we appear with the cleavage or with the miniskirt or with some more sexy outfit or whatever, we are not seen as professional. We are not seen as intelligent. It's just and I think that this young generations know that one thing does not means that you are not professional, that you are not intelligent. But again, there's a fine line in all of this, and there's a very fine line in all of this, and it's very difficult sometimes to manage, and especially in a young dentist, in a young woman dentist. Again, I think that dentists in the beginning have difficulties in wanting to impose the authority of being of looking professional.
Did you ever? Did you ever had any situation where you had to hold yourself back because you thought you realized that you were being understood as flirty for a patient? And how did you handle that?
For sure. Yeah, and I think that the ones that say that, and then the ones that say that they did not are lying, in my opinion. I remember in the beginning of my career as a dentist, I started working in very small villages in Alentejo, and I had letters from patients and flowers and everything, and I was asking, oh my God, am I being interpreted as
can you repeat
flirty?
Can you repeat that?
So I had patients delivering flowers in the practice, or leaving letters, leaving notes and invitations for dinner. So you start questioning yourself. And I remember having this conversation with the assistants. I never had my own practice, so I remember having this conversation with the assistants, asking, "Do you think that I being?" It's like, yeah, you are too nice, So being nice and empathetic sometimes can be in a woman. I'm not saying in a man. I'm giving my perspective, so I don't know how it is in a man. Andre, maybe you can say, but in a woman, it gives you this, and then you are young, you are single, and then there's space for this, and you don't want to interrupt the person, and the person starts asking, but you are not from here. Where are you from? Because you don't live here. So all of this, and it can be so. If you have this posture, if you hide your feminine side, if you have this posture more I don't have the word for it, closed, if you put this cape of I'm the professional with the glasses and with my hair and with
what I call sometimes
the uniforms, for example, in a dental practice, they are the same for men and for women. So that's a way of hiding your femininity. So if you are more outspoken, then you have the same uniform as your colleague, right? But if you can put a special touch, If you want to hide all of that, then you hide all of that and you take a step back. But yeah, I have those situations. And again, though I think that the ones that said that they never had those situations are not being honest, or they are not seeing it.
No, but this is something that really fascinates me, because as a man, I have a very limited vision. I don't know what is to live inside a woman's mind and emotions, but I know it's very different. I'm not saying it's better or worse, it's different, but it's not always the same, of course. But as an educator, I always tell this, which is for women, I think that the biggest challenge when they are treating men, and if they are using more their masculine side, which is, okay, how can I be professional without looking bitchy, without looking very, because I want to be nice, but I don't want to be too nice, because sometimes, and it's true, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done in men. This is why whenever I give a course, I always look at the guys and say, look, there's really some things that we don't understand about women, most of us, and certainly not me sometimes, which is being nice to you does not always mean, if a patient comes down with a cleavage, it does not always mean that she's flirting with you.
The word always is not supposed to be there. Being with the cleavage does not mean that that she's flirt with you. It might happen, but it does not have that meaning from the beginning.
But but that conversation too, and I avoid being like that as much as possible, of course, but I have a lot of experience and I have, I think, some degree of maturity. But when you are 20s and when you are a man, this is something, it's hormonal, very difficult not to mix these things. And this is why it's very important that they are aware of what's going on. And exactly like you were saying, doesn't mean that might not be the case. It might be the case, of course, but you have to start in a situation where you have to be professional. It doesn't mean that you cannot flow with the energy of the person and be nice, but you have to understand that this is a profession, right? You are working here. You are working, and at the end of the day, you want to treat people well, right? So that's the challenge for men. But for women, like you were saying, I think it's much more complex, and it's something that for us, men, it's mostly difficult to understand because it's a fine line.
I know young colleagues. I don't know if you guys know. But I know young colleagues that to deal with this situation, men and women here, I'm talking about both. They don't want to be alone with the patient in the room. They always want to have an assistant present, a dental nurse present. So they don't feel comfortable because they are not experienced enough to deal with these situations. And they don't want to be misinterpreted, and they don't want to be in a situation where it can be like an interaction that, again, like you were saying, Andre, maybe a woman has a cleavage and that other intentions or not, but they don't want to be put themselves in that situation. So to deal with that, they always have a dental nurse.
It works, and it works both ways, and for women the same.
So those kind of situations, yeah, they exist.
I think that for me, sometimes I like to be alone with patients.
Yeah.
Sometimes I ask them to leave.
So those kind of situations, yeah, they exist.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But I am talking about here. It's the thing. I'm talking about colleagues without experience in the beginning, because once you get experience, then you already know. You already know the. I mean, we deal. How many patients do we have a day? How many patients do we have a month, a year? You start to know. People. So this is in the beginning where you don't know how to deal with this situations, or especially when you are not comfortable. So that can help. Then you can, of course, be at ease. And I think it's very important to be alone with the patient, because sometimes patients feel comfortable only to tell certain things.
Let me give you an example. For example, let's say perspective of a woman. Let's say, but let's say you are treating someone. And you are just being you. You are just being an expression of your feminine energy.
What situation?
And the guy finds you attractive. The patient finds you attractive. And sometimes, and he may be overly confident about that. How do you deal with it?
What would he do?
And I'm sure.
You mean?
Maybe he would touch you. For example, I had complaints. Even a few weeks ago, my I don't want to talk about it, but one of the colleagues, and she was a woman. one of the patients, and I could really feel that's the thing about the patient when I was at first. It's very interesting because she talked about the patient, and then I went back when I was with him in the initial examination, the second appointment, and I felt there was something not right with this guy, And he placed his hand on he placed his hand on her knee. It was not very, but while she was talking, and basically when she left, he kept holding her hand and looking her in the eyes. Those subtle things, So how do you deal with that? I'm not even talking about asking you out or something, because I know I'm married, just forget about that. But the thing is that you say no, but you keep being nice. You have to keep the posture. Do you understand? How do you deal with that? Do you have any strategy of dealing with that? And how do you deal with that?
Thankfully, I have not been in that position.
No. Unless maybe because you are intimidating men. That's the only reason.
Maybe I'm holding his knee. No, just kidding. No, but no, just kidding.
That's a very good one.
No, just kidding. He's accusing me. No, just kidding. But no, it has only happened. It has only happened once or twice. Most of my patients are pensionists, so they are.
I get it. Yeah. Now I get it.
Yeah, I'm not being in that position. So you don't have
30s and 40 years old men.
Sorry?
You don't have 30 men in their 30s and their 40s.
No, not many.
No. Oh. Right. so that explains. That explains.
So, but it has happened that they have hugged in a way that is not comfortable. Before the pandemic,
also probably
when
because
you hugged, and they came to me during many years. So I just made it that I just said hi, and I was like standing on the other side of the room, so like telling that I don't want to hug. But no, I've not been in that position.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, but that's an example when they want to
the pandemic brought that. There are certain people that feel more comfortable after the pandemic that they don't have to hug and kiss. And because there's people that don't like
hug,
that. People that don't like that. I don't like that. And there are others that.
How do you do in Portugal?
Well,
do you kiss?
The same.
Two kisses?
We used to. We used to give 2 kisses.
2 kisses, yeah.
No, but for me, I only in the first, whether it's a man or a woman, in the first contacts with the patient, it's always with the hand.
Yeah.
It used to be always with the hand, right? Yeah. If I gain confidence, or if they sometimes they want, but 95% of my patients, unless they are friends, 95% of the patients, unless they are friends, and I pick it out the friends, that I greet them. I used to greet them with their hand, and now what I do is I just punch them.
Yeah.
But I don't think that is.
No.
I mean, now they accept that.
Yeah.
But I think that the handshake is usually more professional than kissing.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I ever
I think it's the same.
Friends and people that you know, but it's always a handshake. But I think the pandemics changed the way that people
and
interact.
Manuela, how would you deal, of course,
touch each other,
being a woman and being an attractive woman? How would you deal? Tell me ways that you dealt with those flirty Portuguese naughty boys.
Well, I had that problem in the early of my career, like I told you, and I had. I had to have the awareness that I was being too nice, and being too nice was being confused with flirty. So I changed the way I acted. I started to become more assertive in the conversations, and I started to immediately identify where the conversation would step out of the professional way, again, because I was working, for example, away, like I told you, I was working away from my hometown. So it was like the beginning of a conversation was like, but you are not from here, are you? So I started to identify those triggers that took the conversation to another place, and I learn how to redirect the conversations. So, and I start to have boundaries on the conversations. And so that was really, really, really helpful. And also I started to identify those vibes that you told, Andre, you know, when you have the vibe of a person that looks something is off, and when he touches you, in the end he puts his hands, or in the end because you already is been on 2 appointments and you want, in the end because you already is been on 2 appointments and you want to say goodbye with 2 kisses, you know. So you start to identify those signs, because then it's specific persons, right, that you learn to spot them. I think practice has a lot to do with that. And I remember having some situations where I felt that I could not set the boundaries that they were pushing. So like you said, the end on the leg, then I asked the dental nurse to always be present with me. I started to, of course, holding back, be more, I don't want to use the word aggressive, because I don't think it's aggressive. Again, it's being assertive.
You are being bitchy.
Because then women are interpreted like that. When they are not too nice, then they are being a bitch. So I started when they are not too nice, then they are being a bitch. So I started to act like that on those people. And I said, I remember one specific case that I said to my assistant, look, I don't want to be alone with this person. And I even remember having the conversation with the practice owner about this patient, and about saying, look, this person, I don't know if I'm comfortable. The practice owner about this patient, and about saying, look, this person, I don't know if I'm comfortable. Maybe we should consider you seeing him. And I remember feeling guilty because I was not being able. So it was like, it was not my work. It was the relationship out of the technical. It was not my work. It was the relationship out of the technical work. But again, I think with experience, you start spotting these vibes, you start acting according. But again, I think with experience, you start spotting these vibes, you start acting accordingly, you start to be more assertive. And even with experience, I think you can reach a place where you say, okay, this person I don't want to see. I don't think I can do a good work on this person. So it's better to another colleague to see it. Because I remember feeling very guilty about having this conversation with the clinic owner. And of course, at the time, and we are talking about, I don't know, 15 years, 20 years ago, I remember the answer that I had. Yeah, just deal with it. So, well, the man likes you. What do you want to do? It's even good. He comes here more often.
Don't be so beautiful. Be a little bit, just turn yourself a little bit more ugly.
Okay, so let's talk about the future, because we've been talking here for so long.
That's
Christina, just to finish.
That's a very, by the way, last question. This has been a very, very, very good podcast. One of the best podcasts, really.
True. We could talk for hours.
We spot many different topics.
Things to unwrap, and that's why dentistry is so rich. And sometimes we don't see it, but it's a very rich profession, because it has a lot of sides, and a lot of aspects,
levels,
layers. True. Christina, any plans for the future? We've been talking, we know that you don't settle. You are always looking for motivation, looking for new challenges to keep you motivated. Tell us, what plans for the future? I know that you just came out of vacation. What's the next?
But I'm starting tomorrow with patients, and now, like I said, I'm with the protocols, because I have also learn something in life, because many times I was just jumping into something new. But I have
we
learned
talked about that before we were before Andre
came in. So I want to do. I know what I want to do. Like we said with the tree, I want to integrate the volunteer work, the clinic, getting my art in it, and then also with the branches, with music, meeting you, do something fun with you maybe. But I have learned also that if you don't give energy to a thing, it disappears. You have to, if I want the clinic to work, I have to be present as a good leader. If I would start now with only the music, with time that would diminish. So I have to focus and organize myself and life and protocols and everything. If I want a lot of things, I have to do them well as well, and still be having my family and private life. So I have to organize myself well. That is my challenge now, because I want a lot of things, and I have the feeling as well as you said, Andre, it's something more coming. It's something more is on its way.
We can feel that.
But
we can feel that.
It's difficult to come to that point because it is taboo. It's like I'm a dentist and I'm only a dentist, and then everything else comes. But we are more
let
than
me ask
that.
you a question. So how do you see for yourself, for example, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5 years? How many days a week are you practicing now? And how many days a week do you want to practice in 3, 4, 5 years?
I will try from now. When
clinical work and leadership work, let's say, either in the clinic or outside the clinic.
Yeah. When we are, and now in September, we will be more people than we have been before. So that's why it's important for me to organize it well. And my plan is to work 2 days with patients, 2.5. Yeah. And the other time,
I like that.
The other time organize with the other things. So, but it is scary because I've never been.
But we are not saying that you're going to do it tomorrow. You're not saying that you're going to do it in September.
No, it's a process.
Exactly.
It's
step by step. Of course.
Yeah.
But it's a very nice
it's a flow,
goal, Christina.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Nice. Yeah.
It is very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
And another question. Do you want to keep doing, are there any specific procedures on your practice that you think that only you will do them? Or you see, like, for example, like static rehabilitation that you do and you do it very well, interdisciplinary cases. Do you see only yourself doing that?
No. Right now, yes.
Nice.
Right
very
now,
good.
but no.
Very good.
I think in life, when you start to change, then it's easy. If you start to say no, then it's easier to say no. It's just to do that change. So now when I'm into delegating,
momentum.
Maybe I delegate everything. It's like, bye. No, but
but still do the math. Still keep the financial goals. Still keep the financial goals, of course.
No, but I'm interested more and more in also the leader, because I have noticed that when I'm a better boss and leading them, the whole team gets like calm. It's like she knows where we're going. She knows what we are doing. So I like that. I like that feeling, and it's a nice team I have. So, but I like so many other things as well. It's difficult. Sometimes I think why wouldn't it would be easier if I would be easier, just one thing, you know.
But let me and this is something that I realized over the last. I was when I was in dentistry at the third year, I had the chance to go to medicine, which is what I initially wanted. But then I looked at dentistry, and there's so much. First, there's more independence early on. You can take care of your own schedule. And so I kept myself in dentistry. And looking back, it was the best decision because if you were a doctor, okay, let's imagine that you were a doctor, endocrinologist, dermatologist. Do you see how much boring your life would have been? And do you have any idea, do you have a notion that you could have never asked someone to work 2 days a week? So yes, dentistry, there's a lot of things that make dentists boring, of course, but there's so many opportunities in dentistry. There's so much freedom. I mean, this is a profession that it encompasses the medical part, the leadership part, the art part, the management part. It's so the communication with the patient. It's so vast and so diverse that it gives you a lot of and actually we had a podcast about unusual paths in dentistry, and usually dentists, they think they are very limited, which is true in a way.
Yeah, it's the way that you look at it, right? You can look at it as a prison, and then you can shift and you can really start looking at it as this whole freedom possibilities, and you can build your own way in your practice, because dentistry allows you that.
Thanks to you guys. Thanks to you guys who brings up these subjects, because they are so taboo. It's like you're saying something wrong, and it's not that you don't like. It's just that sometimes you want to see it differently. The feeling I got many times is when the patient left the room, I felt like, oh, he or she is so lucky that she can go out. It was because I was in that room, and if I had a gap, then an emergency patient would come in. So that's what I can feel, that it's a limited room, a limited space. So when you're there years, hours, it can be difficult. I don't know if
this is why you have to. This is why you have to spend time out of the practice, and I think that the goal of working 2 days a week is amazing, and you have to set that as soon as possible and start delegation. And I think this is and I think you'll get there.
Thank you.
For example, I set this goal, which was very crazy, which is I want to have 6 months vacation. And I thought, well, I'll never be able to do that. 6-month vacation. Well, this year, not all together, but I'm going to take 3 months. Nice. I will be 3 months out of my practice, which is amazing. I never did that before.
Wow.
So even the crazy goals, if you write them down and if you look at them and do them intentionally, they can. Yeah. You may not reach the final one, but you know where you want to go.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
You start seeing the way. And the beautiful thing about that, like you said, Christina, is that your team starts to see the way with you, because you lead the way. So it's not only you as a clinic owner. It's very important that you have this goal, but if you start walking the journey, then you will lead them, and they will be next to you, because it's very important that you also have your company during Andrea talks about that. That's very important. The company during the journey, right? So if you start walking the way, then you lead the way, and they will see.
For me, that's something that was really recent. It was maybe in the last. Actually, I think it was even this year when I had when I had these difficult moments when I was in Costa Rica with COVID. It really struck me that I came and I did a management course in Portuguese, and there was someone that says, well, it's not about the goal. It's not even about the journey. So the goal is mainly for your ego, right? And the journey is about eventually having fun through that. But the company is really, really important. And the company is not only your intimate relationship. Is everybody, is this that I do with Manuela, is my staff, is my students. I mean, the more closer you bring people with you, I mean, in your journey, I think this is really the key, because at the end of the day, we are doing this for each other.
Exactly.
Okay, right? Thank you so much. It's more than 2 hours. I just wanted to say,
amazing.
Podcast.
That's amazing.
We'll divide this into episodes. Thank you so much, Christina, for being here with us. I just want to remember to everyone listening to us that you can go to softbites.online to listen to another episodes and to know more about our conscious leadership course, where we talk about all of the self-awareness that you need and all the systems and protocols in order to make your life easier as a dentist. It's really have an impact on your life. And I was very happy, I'm sure, Andre, also, and delighted to hear how good it was that you took something from us and that you start to implement it, and that it makes your life easier and happier. And so thank you so much for having this conversation with us. And
thank you.
And bye bye. We'll see you. We'll see you in another time, maybe together in a course. And bye bye, everyone.
Soon.
Thank you for listening. Bye, Andre.
I would love to.
Bye. Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you, Manuela.
Thank you for helping us having a better life. Thank you.